sent me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just looking through them.
So I got feedback from Robin. He's good with the FOIA one. He's good with the Marshal one, and he's good with the. He left some comments on the Leo one. The Marshal one, I'm personally not satisfied. I think it needs to focus more on the recent edits rather than the entire document. That was my original concern with the FOIA one until it was like redone.
I just made a note about how the constitutional justification within the Marshal legislation is inherently unconstitutional because it references something that doesn't exist in the Constitution.
Okay. Let me ask you, do you believe the entire document should be contested or the recent edits? We can do either.
It's hard to say, because the Constitution is like obviously written in a way that it leaves it open to interpretation as to like with under the DOJ definition in the last sentence, like who quote they are. Like, does that sentence refer to the Marshals or does that refer to the DOJ?
Oh, I didn't tell you this.
What?
I spoke to Bailey.
What did Bailey say?
That they is the DOJ, as has been the reading with every other legal mind, including ex-judges.
Okay, hold on. So if that is the case, that when it says they are also responsible for preserving the integrity and safety of the state constitution, citizen rights, and the laws of the state, that is referring to the DOJ, not the Marshals.
Correct.
Then the entire thing should be needs to be amended, in my opinion, because per the Constitution, all it says is the DOJ shall have a law enforcement agency that is responsible for overseeing other law enforcement offices. That entire legislation for the Marshals is based on combining those two sentences. So if that second sentence does not apply to the Marshals, then basically everything that they're doing they shouldn't be doing it.
Agreed. It is the DOJ grammatically, they references the main subject of the paragraph, which is the DOJ. So inherently the Marshals are a subdivision of the DOJ whose goal is oversight.
So yeah, that's why I'm like fixated on the fact that they have taken a sentence that does not apply to them. They've created a compound sentence out of it, and they've directly quoted something that doesn't exist. They have completely they've created something.
They manufacture their position.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Like everything that they're doing, they don't have the authority to do it. They don't have any authority. They're just an oversight.
Yep. I think you are right. And I'm now, having spoken to you, I think let's say the preamble of this contest should focus in on the writing of that. And I think as a part of the contest, like in that preamble, it's this entire thing needs to be put into the vision of what is stated in the Constitution.
Yeah, per the Constitution, the Marshal's job is glorified IA. So this whole ultimate authority thing is kind of bullshit.
Well, I don't want to. IA has its own things, right? Like what goes beyond it, right?
The ultimate purpose of the Marshals is to investigate crimes that cops commit. that is their purpose. I don't know how we've gotten so off track of that into whatever the fuck they're doing right now. But that is the purpose, to make sure that officers
that's a
aren't,
good way to put it.
being corrupt and committing crimes. I don't think it's a bad thing that the marshals exist. The problem is that they
They're
are going
operating
too
beyond their
far.
mandate.
Yeah, they're operating beyond their scope.
Yeah. Okay. I like this. Okay, so I'm going to. The FOIA one is easier. Okay, I'm going to.
I would like to know, like, how the DOJ has been overseeing the marshals.
What do you mean?
I mean, the DOJ oversees the marshals. What is that oversight? Like, is it just Angel, or?
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, because I'm unsure if you're familiar with this, because it may have been before your time. So there was the original DOJ document. I think it's worth comparing. Do you know how to look up the diffs?
What do you mean?
Like what was written in there prior to the edits? So if you go to report, and I think this is worth looking at, and then maybe we revisit this conversation, is if you search for marshals in reports, and then use, like, you know, on your cell phone, look up a diff program, but copy everything that is in there and then hit the history, and you'll notice that the two major edits were made on 10/28. Actually, there's a couple. 9/30, 8/02, and then 7, I think, 24. So what you'll see is the document has evolved. The way that the document read 3 months ago versus where it is now is grossly different. And so the original document, I think, was closer to the original vision of the intent of the marshals. And then there was a grasp of power. Now, when you say oversight, it has been legislated that there will be a justice that oversees it, but they're also the main operating. It's not a proxy, right? It's literally conjoined as it currently is.
I'm just looking through this. I would need like a little bit of time to look through all this. Look through the edits made to this. I don't know. I just kind of think that, like, everybody should just stay on their own lane and do their own thing, you know? I don't think it's that complicated.
Yeah, I agree. I think the simple language here is
just like work together rather than, and that's what I talked to like Anna Lockhart about the other day, is that right now it just feels like the marshals aren't there to help the PD, and if that's what you want them to do, then, you know, participate in training and you know, have those kind of conversations with officers. If every experience that an officer has with a marshal is a negative one, they're going to have a negative opinion of the marshals.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's kind of crazy to me thinking back at like the conversations I had with Soze of like the marshals and this and that, and then where it's kind of become. I genuinely just think it's a product of what I keep referring to as the kid at the buffet that gets all the plates, like he plates everything up, and then they realize that they can't eat anything and they stop throwing up. And if things are more well defined along areas of responsibility, a lot of this bullshit would not be happening, you know? So,
Yeah. I don't know.
I'd say feel free to put your general thoughts in there, and I have to take another, because I haven't taken a good look at it. I just took an overview of it, and the main thing I want to see change is, like I said, like a preamble that points at what is in the Constitution, points at how it's overcroached, and really calls for like an entire rewrite in the lens of the original intent as written in the Constitution.
I don't know. The whole thing with the marshals is just confusing, right? Because they have tanks, they have all this special equipment, but yet they're only defined in the Constitution as being a PD oversight.
So that's a good point.
Does anybody have anything to drink or eat?
Yeah, I got
Well, I mean, you say that, right? But
you gotta eat it quick. You gotta eat it quick.
They have it, right? But the thing is,
Thank you.
I let's not be clouded by the fact.
You gave me a bad drink.
Well, yeah, that's all I got.
That's so do they have a tank unit? Yes. Are they operating it? But they give out the certifications, right? So it's not like the marshals would solo run the tanks, right? With, 5 people. You get what I'm saying? So that's still within the scope. They have tanks, but it's not like they'd be utilizing that with LSPD, et cetera, et cetera. But I get what you're saying. Like, where does oversight begin and where does it end? And I think those things are the things that need to be clarified. I think the problem is, right, if I was to look at it like a needle, green on one side, red on the other, that even if what is written today was in the yellow, it is now ended up in the red, and you'll see what I mean when you do the diffs. I think, if I am not mistaken, the concern primarily erupted with the most recent edit, where they're like, we can hire and fire and do all these things, and effectively we are the high command. Would that be an accurate representation of how you feel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna let this cook.
I mean, it's like, at that point, why not just be like chief of police and just run the LSPD?
Yep. Agreed. Well, it's like I'll give an example, right? You have local law enforcement. Let's just use how it works in the United States. The United States has marshals. They have the FBI. They have even on a military level, you have the U.S. Army, but then you have fucking, what do they call it? The reserves and shit, right? My point there is, like, if we just talk about like law enforcement, you have sheriffs, you have different jurisdictions for the different towns and states, but the marshals aren't coming in there and and fucking around with individual towns, right? They may take on an investigation that may involve inter-police related things, but that would, each one of those things would still go through a police department. The problem is that the marshals that we have today are so incestuous with their power that that's what's clouding things. So to give an example, right? If my life, Pred's life, or you as in your political positions had your life threatened, it's reasonable that that may be a case that is taken on by the marshals, right? Or if there was some criminality between your department and Bones's department, that they may be involved to figure out what's going on, and then it would go through court, or there would be some level of arbitration, right? But given that they're operating directly in your investigations, there's question marks of where your jurisdiction begins and ends. That's where the everything's gotten blurry, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. All right. I'll keep looking at this. Is there anything else?
I don't think so. I am okay with, if it gets bad, to pay the cost of the 25,000. I sort of reneged on it after what Peter said, because I do agree with him that I think this is a good exercise in general for people to actually do the presentation.
No, I think they should do a presentation.
Yep. Agreed.
I think it is, it's not a good look if you're just paying 25K for a repair. That's stupid.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. All right, easy. Big lawsuits coming, by the way. I still haven't got my FOIAs, so.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I have to tell you about that. I gotta read it to you.
Wait, you got a response?
Yeah, I got a response.
You're good with the FOIA one, Moss?
I haven't read through it yet. I'm just gonna do that next.
All right, easy. That one I'm gonna send in a little bit. All right. Let me know if you need anything.
Do you need a ride, Nino?
Nope, I got my vehicle right over in the corner.
Okay.
All right. Stay safe.